and gentlemen, and welcome to this wonderful program, this exceptional one, because we're receiving an exceptional guest. He's Dr. Peter Baofu. He's an American visionary and author of 141 new theories and visions in 175 scholarly books as of February 2022, and numerous articles provide a visionary challenge to conventional wisdom in all fields of knowledge, that is the social sciences, the formal sciences, the natural sciences, and the humanities, with the aim for unified theories of everything together with numerous visions of future histories in relation to the mind, nature, society, and culture. His books are listed in top university libraries and national libraries around the world, including the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. He was interviewed on television and radio, as well as by newspapers around the world, about his original ideas and visions of the human future. You can check it on YouTube. And has global experiences around the world in all civilizations in 117 countries as of February 2022. And finally, Dr. Baofu earned an entry on the list of prominent and emerging writers in Contemporary Authors, that is in 2005, and another honorary entry in the Writers Directory, that is in 2007. He was a U.S. Fulbright scholar in the Far East. He had taught as a professor at different universities in Western Europe, the Caucasus and the Middle East, the Balkans, Central Asia, South Asia, North America, and Southeast Asia. He finished more than 5 academic degrees, including a PhD from the world-renowned Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, and was a summa cum laude graduate, as well as the recipient of the 1986 Delta Sigma Pay Scholarship Key for being at the top of the class in the College of Business Administration with another student. And we receive Dr. Peter Baofu. Good evening.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's a pleasure having you on our show today.
Same.
All right, we go straight to our questions. We get rid of the educational system strongly influenced by colonial era as Africans.
I have visited some schools in Africa before, not just in Western Africa, and I noticed that when I read the textbooks that children here read, what did they teach you? If you read the textbook, many of those textbooks are published in France, are manufactured by French companies, or they sponsor all this kind of publication. Read those books. What are they teaching your children? Your children learn more about European history than they know about your African heritage. This is the same problem in America about Black Americans. They go to school, they learn more about Western civilization than they know anything about African history. In fact, having been in Africa for some years now, I know more about Black people than the Black people in America know about themselves. If you ask Black people in America about their heritage, they don't know much of anything. They cannot even speak any of the languages. The only language that they learn is English. And the food that they eat is American food. And many of the things that they do, they don't know anything. And when they go to Africa, they think that they are American, they look down on the Africans. You see that now? That's a colonial mindset.
So how do we get rid of that?
See, many of those children, when they finish school, they look up toward the outside power as the superior one, and they are the inferior one. That is how they teach you. You are inferior, you are backward. So every time when they do something, they look up to Paris or any major powers to copy everything. How can you develop? There's the colonial system to control you, to dominate you. And you continue to behave like that, to welcome that, and your children continue to think like that. Every time here in Africa, when they have a problem, the solution that they seek are always a solution copied from the West. But how can you progress if you always like this? You are perpetuating the same system. It's not colonial anymore, but it's post-colonial, neo-colonial. You should get rid of that. Now, how do you do that? I think that each country has a different condition to do, and certainly some of the things that you should do is that you should get rid of all those textbooks.
Okay.
They are poisoning you.
That's a solution.
There's only one
Suggestion?
No, there is only a small piece of the pie. You don't think that there are many things that you need to do, okay? And the second thing, which is not about the colonial one, which is that education is not valued in Africa as they are valued, let's say, in China, in Japan. Education for thousands of years in China has received such a kind of veneration in China. Everyone look up to education as like God. In Africa, education is not God. Football is God. Football is God in Africa. Look at how much time they spend here watching football. Children play football on the street.
And how much money?
And how much money they have spent on that too. Even if they have a ball, they use a bottle of water, use something. And you go to bars, restaurants, cafe, everywhere you go, stores. Every time you have a TV on, what is on the screen? It's always football games. And how much time and energy that they spend on watching football. But why do you spend all this time learning mathematics, physics, chemistry, engineering? Do you care about that? They don't care. But in China, in Japan, some children, when they fail examination, some of them kill themselves. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Because it's so serious. Education for them is very important. It's like something which is honorable, something which is good. In those countries, to be honorable, to be good for children, you have to be good in school, in class. People value you as a scholar. Here in Africa, no one cares about this. Football is number one.
All right, Professor Peter Baofu, it was a
Yes.
pleasure having you, and we are glad you answered all our questions. We are very satisfied, and we hope and trust that you travel back safely.
Okay, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much.